But I'm pretty excited about this, man.
Yeah, I appreciate you even considering me for it. I think this will be pretty fun.
Yeah, I do too. And I apologize for postponing until today. Like the yard, the one part of my yard, dude, it grows so fast. It's just totally different. So I kind of separate it, and I mow this one day, then I stop and I mow that side. But Alicia's out there finishing up for me. So
you've got it made, man.
Yeah. Dude, that mower we have is so cool. It's so nice.
I saw it.
It's the nicest mower. It's the nicest thing I've ever had in my life. Honestly, it's I love it, dude. It's so cool.
Yeah. Well, if you're gonna have something nice, it should be a nice mower. If you've got a yard like yours.
I have so many trees, dude. I told Alicia, I was like, we have to have a zero turn. Like, I'm not riding a lawnmower, backing up and going around all those trees, dude. It's just too much.
Yep.
I need to count my trees. I'm guessing 60 to 80.
I was thinking 40, but you're probably right. I mean, there's a bunch out there.
There's so many bushes, and there's a whole perimeter of pine trees going all around and stuff. So I need to count because I've been guessing. So I'll do that soon. But okay, we got a few people in here right now, and welcome to the next edition of the DangerCast. This is the podcast I've kind of been doing off and on for the past 3 or 4 years. Well, probably 3 years. And since I've been doing this, I've only done these when I had a podcast guest, and I have a podcast guest today. But the whole reason I'm bringing this guy on today is because I've always wanted to co-host. Because I'll be honest, I could talk about knife throwing once a week forever and be content, but I don't think that I am that interesting. So I think that having a co-host would be best. And I would like to introduce Campsite, or AKA Matt Todd.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Thanks for joining us, man. And
yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, dude, we're just gonna
we're just gonna not monetize.
Dude, I am so bad.
Well, at least it was you and not me, so that's good.
Dude, okay. Anyway, let's be honest. Maybe 300 people are gonna watch this. Yeah. If we get more entertaining in the future, hopefully we'll have more than that. But I think 300 is probably the most viewers I've ever had on one of my podcasts, and that kind of bummed me out at the time because I was actually going to a real podcast studio that had gnarly mics, and like he could pull up videos on the TV just like Jamie and Joe Rogan. So I really missed that, and it's too bad that went away, but. Here we are, and anyway, let's get to you, man. So, yeah, like I just think that out of all the people that I know that are into knife throwing, you're one of the guys that's the top that I thought. You and you come from a skateboarding background. I come from a BMX background.
Yeah,
we're about the same age. We're into the same kind of stuff. We get along really well, and I just thought that you'd be a perfect co-host. And not only that, I think that you and I are going to agree on a lot of things, but I think there's also some things that we're going to disagree on, and that's totally fine.
Yeah.
I think that some good conversation could come with that, because I don't mind people that have different views than me. I'm not one to get all butthurt about stuff and start yelling and stuff. One of my best friends believes the Earth is flat, and I'm willing to hear it.
Dude.
I think he's wrong, but I'm willing to hear, like, some of those flat earthers have got some really, really good arguments, dude.
Yeah.
Some of them. So
me and you being on different time zones like earlier because the sun sets. Whatever, right? Yeah. 100%.
So let's just get into it, and just tell people a little bit about yourself, how old you are, where you're from, a little bit about your background, how you got into knife throwing, all that stuff.
Yeah, cool. So I come from like a firearm background as far as in the recent decade or so. I own a gun range and teach classes. So was following Danger and Pro Knife Thrower Jason back in 2017, probably on my Instagram, watching these guys do cool stuff.
It's been that long?
I think it's been about 2017 or so. I have to look on the timeline on Instagram, but it's been a minute. Yeah, it's been a while. So that's back when everybody was just kind of putting the bottle caps up and hitting the bottle caps, right? Yeah, you had long, beautiful locks, and So ammo started getting really expensive in those years leading up to COVID and stuff, and so I started kind of substituting that as like a cross training method for shooting because a lot of the mechanics are kind of similar. And let's just face it, any kind of training gets monotonous no matter how much you like it. If you can kind of make it a little spicy, then go ahead. So started doing that a little bit. COVID, I got COVID in 21, and I was doing a lot of jujitsu at the time at 10th Planet, and so I had to take 30 days off. And so I started. This is kind of when a lot of people were starting to do a knife catch or catching stuff with knives and stuff, cans and pins. Lobo was way up here doing some crazy shit, right? So anyway, one day he hit me up and he was like, "Hey, you should try to pin a can." And I was just like, "Ha, it's hilarious." I just figured it was totally impossible. February 22nd, I actually saw it on my timeline recently.
Really?
2022. So 2 years ago in February, I caught my first can. And then I realized how much fun it was. And I did kind of feel like I would not put myself in the same caliber with hardly any of you guys as a thrower. But I kind of felt like I could kind of talk about some stuff now. Yeah, like you kind of hit that little spot. And I've been seeing a lot of new throwers hitting that James Nation, that dude and his kid Aiden. Like they caught some stuff and now they're just like catching things like it's nothing, right?
Yeah.
Man,
it's
just
cool.
exponentially.
It's really cool to watch. Yeah,
mind-blowingly crazy. So I just kind of saw a huge value in it for just hand-eye coordination. It's a great way to spend time. I'll be 47 this year, so as you get older, I still go to the skate park some, but I'm not trying to do anything. I'm just rolling around, making sure that the board's still in one piece. And so am I when I leave, right? So I just saw that it was a lot of fun, and I've never been one to put myself on camera or anything like that. But making the content kind of let me kind of get out of my shell a little bit and just kind of go, this is my journey of progression. And then you kind of get like your own vibe, and then you kind of get like this, because like you said, you grew up on BMX, skateboarding. Videos will get you pumped, right? You go watch a video on the couch, you're out doing stuff,
jump out,
yeah. So for me, it's you and Loic and all these guys that have really cool content that you watch and you go, okay, dude, I'm hitting the backyard. And the cool thing is you don't need someone else to do it with you. You can do it in the backyard. It's super cost effective. You can buy the nicest knives you can buy, and you can't buy one single boating accessory, right? I mean, it's just a super cheap hobby. You get to support a culture, especially if you come from BMX or skateboarding or something that has like a subculture of music or anything like that. Like the vibe is real similar because it's a lot of the same people. They just have this as a hobby also, right? I mean, like Judah and Hannah, like all these people that are so cool when you meet them, it's not because they're knife throwers, it's because they're just genuinely cool. And knife throwing kind of melds a lot of different cultures together, right? I mean, there's Alvis is super rad and Larry super rad. So you got all these just different people from all over. So I was really kind of about it right off the rip. Never been a competitive person, but when you invited me to DangerCast, I was like, I'm not going to not go if you invite me to. If you said, "Hey, come clean my floor," I probably would have been like, "Okay, Mr. Danger, sir." I've been like, let's go, right? So. But for any of you guys that are watching, if you're ever considering getting into this, if you like the content that you see that he puts out, and you see like knife throwing, DangerFest is the coolest competition, I guess there is. It's like a weekend of just super awesome people. The vibe is rad, food's great. There is knife throwing if you want to try hard, or you can sleep till 1 o'clock and chunk knives until 3 a.m. It's whatever you want to do, but it's super fun if you're looking for something to do. I think a lot of us right now, especially if you get in these late 30s and 40s or whatever age you are, like you still want to keep a hobby, man. This is a really fun hobby or lifestyle, really more than anything. I mean, you have just bags full of this stuff, just like laying in your truck or in your car, whatever, right? So you think about it all the time. You can't look at a dead tree the same anymore. Like looking at an escape spot or a rail for a bike, right? You're like, man, look at that 28-inch pine round laying over there by the street. I bet I could, at 7 meters with that. Yeah, it's whatever. So, but yeah, it's been super fun. The people are super inclusive. I've had very few like obstacles to have to like deal with socially on it, and I've been around it for a couple of years now, pretty heavy. So, the Illuminati thing, some people didn't really enjoy that in the beginning, thinking it was some sort of religious culty thing, and just to play on words for aluminum cans, people. It's just
yeah, we're trying to be clever here.
Yeah, dude, like. Yeah, and your mom's throwing knives. It's gonna. We're just trying to have fun, but it is super fun. So anybody that's really into, especially if you're into archery or firearms or anything that requires like a range, ear pro, lead exposure, sign a waiver, drive from home. This is a lot of the same mechanics for a lot of those kind of skills, or even like ball sports. I guess basketball, baseball, anything that's just hand-eye oriented. I guess I'm speaking more on the lines of trick shots, just because there is a lot of moving parts. No matter how simple the trick looks, there is a lot going on. Usually, maybe both hands, maybe more than one knife or anything like that. So, I think if people just like challenging themselves and you just want something to do, or you just like knives, and you don't know what to do with it other than put it in your pocket, get a throwing knife and throw it some, because I love knives. I have way too many, but it is nice to go like, I can't carry this, but I can go throw this in my backyard repeatedly into something. And I mean, you go through the mental Rolodex of the day, you decompress from work, you come up with something cool, you put it online, your friends pump you up with some dopamine and some likes. It could be way worse, right? I mean, you could be spending your time doing way dumber stuff, I guess, as an adult.
Yeah.
Pretty dumb, but it's fun. So.
The community is pretty cool too, right? Like as far as the online community, people
everybody wears black T-shirts. If you notice, like you won't ever see anybody in a white shirt or something weird. We don't wear those colored shirts, black shirt people. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
but the vibe is great. I drive 9 hours one way just to go to DangerCast every year, and I go to 0 other competitions or any of that stuff. I wouldn't drive 20 minutes probably, but that one is, it's a day in the car and it's worth every minute of it.
Man, I really appreciate you saying that. And I kind of forgot that you are not a competitive person. So you said a couple things that I want to touch on, but the first one is that, can you kind of elaborate a little bit that, like I put on a knife throwing competition every year, and it is a competition. You can take it just as seriously as you want to, or not. You don't have to compete. I don't care. Come and hang out, throw knives. I have targets for days. You can throw till the sun comes up. I don't care. So can you touch on that a little bit and how you enjoy it?
Yeah. So I mean, that's exactly that. Like I'm just not competitive. I never have been. It's not my wiring really. But I do like being around. I like social stuff. I like seeing people do well. If I go to the skate park, I'm not trying to like one up somebody. Never was. Just wanted to roll around with everybody. Slam my board down when you did something awesome. Like, I'm there for the whole thing, right? So, when you invited me the first year, I actually couldn't go. The second year, I made it a point to, and I went last year, and I'll be there this year. But the reason that I went, it's almost kind of like like Bonnaroo festivals or shit like that, stuff like that, right? So you go for the people. I mean, people get rowdy. They don't get rowdy. They fall asleep early. They stay up late. They cook. That guy with the dinosaur egg, whatever. There's brisket biscuits and Pabst Blue Ribbon or whatever first thing in the morning. It was Bush beer last year because we know about the changes, but the vibe is just really, really fun. Like I competed in almost all the events except like Tomahawk. That's definitely not my thing. But I'm not there for that. I think a lot of people are there to be around their friends, and there are some people that are there to take scalps. 100%. Like I'm not dismissing it as like, if I was competitive, that would probably still be the only one I went to. I'd go there to show up and show out, take scalps, go home. That'd be it. I go there to have a good time, and that's it. So, but for that being said, I would rather put a pine cone in my rectum than drive, and I will drive 9 hours one way to Indiana through Nashville, I-65, construction, yelling in my windshield, why don't you have a blinker on? The entire way, then through cornfields of whatever the heck that is in Indiana. out in the middle of nowhere just to do what I do right here in my backyard at home with these people that I see already on my phone in my house in my AC, but I'll sleep in the back of my car last year. I went 3 days early and helped, got to hang out with Loic and all these guys at your house at Mecca. My first throw was a bullseye can pin and my camera was not on. Thank God Loic was there to see it. But
that was here.
It was,
That was here, wasn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I came in, I grabbed a bush can, I threw it, center punched it. Loic was like, whoa. And I went to go grab my camera and go up to it. And it's still just
I hate
not
that,
on.
Dude, I hate that shit.
So, but yeah, I mean, an even better story, right? I think it's even funnier that way. But yeah, I mean, we had such a good time saving the baby rabbits for Pandora, trying to be a dog.
Yeah.
I ate every apple on his tree that wasn't on the ground. He's got this insane orchard up there, and it's like a Publix, on the west side of his house. But yeah, the vibe's just super cool. You'll meet all these people that you've seen online. So when I pulled up, I'll never forget pulling up. Danger's 13 feet tall. I'm 5'8". I'm male math 5'8". I'm a real 5'8". So I pull up and there's this little a garage building to my left, and this I can see this top of this blonde head walking around it, and then lurching.
Yeah. Yeah.
And but yeah, it's just so much fun. I mean, for me, I don't I have a pretty awesome life every day. I work. I'm a farmer, so I work barefoot on a tractor all day. It's pretty dreamy. So, but to be able to do that is so refreshing and nice to kind of feel 25 again when you used to go on the road and go to concert festivals.
Yeah.
And go wild.
It makes me feel young too. It really does. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're driving around on a 4-wheeler with police lights. What are you doing in there? At 3 in the morning, waking people up in their tents. It's a rowdy, fun time. His dad is cooler than he is. I mean, it's a really, really fun. It's a super fun time. It's as family oriented as you want to be around that part of it. And everybody up there, even the people that get super rowdy, we have good etiquette about it. I mean, it's not
and plus you're far away enough that you don't really.
Yeah, it's acres of property.
Yeah, it works out really well.
Yeah, it's super cool, man. Anybody that knows Louis Prince, you should listen to him do karaoke. Wow, man, I would do anything to have some of those hip hop tracks that he was rootin' tootin' on karaoke. I was like, oh man, it was
karaoke out of control, dude. That was fun.
So rad. But yeah, I mean, if you any of you people, I don't even know who else is on here. Northbound Impalement, I know that cat. Modern Bushcraft. Yeah, there's a lot of guys on here that are on our pick. Anybody that you see on your Instagram, dude, they're all there, and it's crazy. It's kind of I don't know, Comic-Con or something weird. When I first went, it was I met Mac. Dude, me and Mac were tight first year. He really held me down up there. I didn't know what all to bring and what to expect. He was like, "No, this is how we do it here." I was like, "God bless you, child." So it was rock and roll. Travis. I mean, everybody. I mean, just everybody. Anybody that you hit heart buttons on their page, you go there, you're gonna see them. You can grab their knives out of their bag. I mean, everybody. That was something else. Cars unlocked, trunks wide open, knives everywhere. I mean, there's hardware everywhere. And you said there's nothing has ever been stolen, and anything that was missing was found.
Yes, nothing has ever been stolen. The only thing that hasn't been found is, I'll be honest, we throw with Sam
into the weeds. He throws into the Amazon jungle in Indiana. It's 94 feet tall.
Well, I apologize. We are still trying to do things. We had a backdrop last year to help stop them go beyond the targets. That helped a lot. So there are 4 or 5 knives in the sand. And then there's also 4 or 5 in the pond.
The sand and the pond are his Etsy pages where he takes your knives you can't find and sells them anonymously.
Believe me, the ones in the pond, nobody cares about.
But, that's very funny.
Okay, so I appreciate you saying all that nice stuff, man. But, DangerFest, this year is our 10-year anniversary, and it just evolves. It started off in my backyard. It's super tiny. We had like 8 or 11 people, somewhere in between there. And then every year it just keeps growing. So we're expecting, if everybody can come, I'm expecting 150 throwers this year. That's what we're gonna plan for.
Yeah. The little town is so nice. I mean, you guys, if you ever want to come, apparently there's Airbnbs all over that place. If you don't want to do like we do and stink it up for a week. But the little town is chill. There's even the gas stations are really nice. It seems like it's not a hard place to find, but it's not an easy place to find. It's just like once you know where it is, you can get it in and out of there real quick. But just pack accordingly, because it's once you leave town, dude, you're gonna go for a minute before you get back on the interstate anywhere. But man, it's such a really nice place. The vibe is dope. It's not expensive. I mean, if you want to have fun for a weekend, it's kind of hard to spend a lot of money there unless you just bought something from every single maker that was there, which you should, because there's a lot of makers there that have all of their gear out there. So I mean, if you want to fondle Lewis Prince's website, it's sitting there. You can just go there and just grab 80 CRV2 and just fondle it all you want, So
that's one of the really cool things about going to a throw, is being able to put your hands on the knives that you've been seeing on the internet and go throw them. Most of the makers,
you can go and throw them. I mean, you literally get them off the table and go 180 degrees and chunk it into the wood, and they're cool with it. You want to buy it, try it. Dude, I'm telling you, if you guys are wanting to get into it, it's rock and roll, man. It's a really, really good time.
Like I said, I appreciate you saying all that stuff, and it's just something that, when I was accepted into the community, or when I first started going, it was just something that I felt like it was very fucking special, and I wanted to try to recreate that. And I've taken things from every competition that I've gone to, the World Championship, Joe Dara's, Blade Aces, Blades in the Glades, and I tried to meld all that together.
Yeah,
lights you can throw until the sun comes up. I don't care.
Yeah,
we have enough room for people to camp. We don't charge for camping.
Yep.
It's only, I think we're charging $80 for the whole weekend. That's pretty cheap.
Crazy. Yeah, super cheap.
And the only reason we have to bump it up a little bit every year is just the price of everything's so expensive, dude. I think
100%.
I think the porta potties are around $1,500 or something. So
yeah. Oh yeah.
There's
not going to be a new whip in your driveway, guys, because he's doing DangerFest. It's not a money thing. I don't think anybody is really into it for the money. I mean, when I think about even the high-end stuff, man, if you can buy a really quality knife by someone who spent time away from everybody, sitting in a shop with a mask on for hours for $100, dude, are you kidding me? I mean, was it $25 an hour? Give me a break, man. I don't even understand. Because I have some sharp knives around here that are custom made, and they were not $100. You know what I mean? Probably not a lot more time put into it. They probably have a laser jet cutter and all that other stuff. So, yeah, man. I mean, the culture is really cool. It's a reciprocal kind of give back, grassrootsy, and not all of it's grassroots. I don't watch any of this ESPN, WKTL. It's all out there for you guys. If you want to rock jerseys and have these cool stances and do stuff, man, knock yourself out. But I like the mullets and half naked people, dirty feet, knife throwing. That's my jam. And you can find both of those at DangerFest. There's gonna be jerseys, there's gonna be all that stuff too. But if you're just kind of it's kind of dirt baggy, dude, it's so fun, and everybody gets along. A lot of us don't agree with hardly anything outside of knife throwing, and still it's who cares? It's knife throwing right now.
Again, I appreciate you saying all that nice stuff. And let's get off the subject of DangerFest.
Yeah, sure.
On something else you said. I appreciate talking about all this stuff.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah.
But by the way, DangerFest is September 20th through the 22nd in Pearson, Indiana. If you want any more information, email me, fulltangclan@gmail.com, or contact me on Facebook, Brandon Danger Dillon. But the one thing that I
porta potties.
What?
I was reading Make It Stick says porta potties. Don't you have woods? Yeah, he does have woods.
Yeah, we have half of the
porta potties
there, or half of the people that come are women. Women,
yeah.
You know, it's another thing about knife throwing. It's co-ed. We don't because some of the women are just as good as a lot of the men, and
yes,
that's one of the cool things I like about knife throwing is they don't separate. You know, here in the United States anyway. I think they do in Europe, but so you're the only person that I've ever heard say this word, and I wanted to hear your perspective on. You keep saying culture, and I agree, but you're the only one that's I've ever heard say that. So, can you kind of elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah. So, you know, I grew up skateboarding, and that I think anybody watching this is definitely going to agree that is a culture, a subculture. It's been around for a long time. When you see someone in black, white gum shoes, Dickies, you almost have like a look, right? I mean, there's all kind of things that have a look. Cowboys have a look, blah blah blah.
Okay.
So aesthetically, knife throwing has more of like a jargon. There's like colloquialisms, there's terms. Some of us come up with names for tricks and stuff like that. So, and I don't know how much of a culture there is worldwide. I don't know if the European countries look at it more as a sport than like a lifestyle thing. I don't do sports, and so I do look at it as a lifestyle thing. And so like any of the knives that I have are even kind of like my vibe. Like I don't have like everything's pretty much everything's kind of just the same. A lot of just real plain kind of stuff. 190, 210 gram, 8-inch ish kind of stuff. So I think, kind of the same thing like with skateboarding or BMX, like you rode a certain frame, you rode a certain tire, I ride a certain width board, certain type of trucks. I do have 60 gram to 440 gram stuff, but like I say 190, 220, I say in half spin a lot, I say 5-ish meters a lot. It's kind of like a thing. And I think a lot of throwers do kind of have like their thing. I think there's certain throwers that if you watch their content, they're not one. I'm a pretty much a one trick pony more than anybody, but most everybody still has like a vibe to their stuff, like the Nightmare, like TJ. I mean, when I watch TJ's stuff, and not to mention he's a ripper skateboarder, the Nightmare. If you guys follow him on Instagram, Juice, shreds on a board. When you look at him, he looks like a skater. He's our age. Kills it on a board, kills it with a knife, and has this whole vibe. Loic, same thing. Farmer, ripped, girls all love him, right? And throws a bazillion miles an hour. Doesn't do any trick shots hardly ever. He just throws through walls and stuff, right? I don't give a shit about that stuff. He's like, I'm going to chunk this thing to a brick wall. So, and I think that's kind of what makes the culture. Like when I look at like skateboarding, you have like the guys that wear like ripped up jeans and long hair, and they're really technical guys in baggy pants. But that's what makes the culture, is all these different types of people. And I think with knife though, and that's what I see at your place especially, is all of the different people. That one guy that had the pug that wears the kilt, that rides the one wheel with the glittery cowboy hat, no shirt. Right. You, me, I mean, it's so crazy out there. It's almost like, it's like Burning Man, but with steel stuff,
I've heard people say that DangerCast is like Burning Man knives.
It's even sandy. There's sand in Indiana. Didn't know that. This whole place is like 8 inches deep in sand. You'll lose a knife right in front of yourself. Boop. So bring a metal detector. There are metal detectors there. Bring stick magnets. Bring rope magnets. Bring a golf caddy. I don't know, man.
We're working on it, dude. We're working every year. I make it a little bit better.
It's rad, dude. It's super fun.
Yeah, one other thing. This is the 10-year anniversary, but this might possibly be the last time that we host DangerFest at this location. I have 2 more locations that are possibly, but my dad has been wanting to sell the bait shop, and who knows? He may sell the whole thing. He may not. So I just wanted to make this year extra special. I have my license now. Over the past 10 years, I've had to rely on my friends to get me to and fro, and transport everything. So now I'm independent, so I can cruise over there and build stuff. And I have a lot of ideas that we haven't even done yet, just because, you know, I haven't had the time, or I hate asking people for help all the time, dude. You know, having my driver's license is one of the biggest relieves like having to ask, you know, everybody for the past 10 years, like, please take me somewhere, you know, it just sucks. So I have a lot of ideas that I'm going to follow through with this year. You're going to see, man, it's going to be the biggest and the best one we've ever had. And I just confirmed all of these sponsors. We've got sponsors for every event. I still got to reach out to a couple big companies that I'm, fingers crossed, that they may help out.
Very cool.
But yeah, stoked on that. Anyway, we got back to DangerCast again. What else, man? So how did you get into firearms training? How did you become the guy?
Yeah, well, I've had firearms my whole life, just because I live in Alabama. So I mean, just when you're born, they give you a rifle, and there you go. So
hell yeah, dude. America.
But at any rate, I was bartending back. Oh man, I bartended for about a decade, and I think it was in 2010 or 2011. I got robbed at gunpoint coming home. I kind of walked to work and stuff, and this kid held me up and, you know, shook me down for some money. And I didn't like it. And I've been in martial arts most of my life, so I already kind of thought I knew how to, like, fight and stuff. Anyway, not. So I decided, you know, I do want to learn a little bit more about, like, the technical aspect of firearms. And I just kind of started taking a more cerebral approach to, like, what it meant to, like, have a gun, and not for recreation, not for hunting, but for actually, like, keeping yourself safe in public. And so I became an instructor in 2017, and started teaching, and I've taught hundreds of classes and thousands of people now. But I think mainly what it was kind of an extension of just enjoying what I thought I already knew about self-preservation early, from just having, like, a martial arts background. I've been in some fights, did fine, kind of thought, and I'm a pretty nice guy for the most part. I usually don't attract that kind of smoke anyway. But I did kind of think, like, man, I felt really vulnerable having somebody, you know, having all of just this, you know, being so much leverage against anything else that I could do, right? So just kind of found it to be important. And as I started teaching, I don't know if it's just demographic or what, I would get, you know, usually two types of people. It'd be like the apocalyptic rednecks, which I kind of really did not gravitate towards conversation wise, because I don't like talking about that stuff when you have a gun in your hand. It's weird. But also a lot of victims of violence, and so, like, females. And so when I started, you know, having these women in classes, I started realizing, like, man, like, some really heavy stuff happens to people. And being a male, being like a white privileged kind of male, like, my family's got land here and stuff, so it's pretty easy, you know, for me here. So you know, seeing that a lot of people don't really have that luxury, like, they get nervous. I've had a lot of, like, young black males in classes that are in there because they have a gun in their car without a license. So it's not like really a big deal here, but for them it's going to be a big deal, probably because if they don't have good representation, they don't have to do anything but say something slightly wrong or whatever, and it might get worse. But I've literally had court cases overturned because of kids going to firearm classes and showing that, hey man, I'm not that guy. You know what I mean?
Oh, wow.
So neck tattoos, dreads. Yeah, I mean, so a lot of times I'm really trying to help people, you know, not be stupid. So I do a lot with you know, my ratchety kind of friends. Like, I kind of, you know, if we go to a gun range, I make fun of them the entire time and tell them how poor they are at shooting until they take it serious. Because it's kind of like knife throwing. If you've ever tried to show a friend how to knife throw, and they're just, like, chunking it as hard as they can, or they don't want to fail at it, so they're just going to fail at it on purpose, right? Well, with a gun, like, well, you shouldn't be doing that.
You can't, yeah,
stupid. Right. Yeah, that thing keeps going until something stops it, and you don't want it to be a person or property you can't pay for. So, and that's another culture thing, because, like, in the gun culture, I'm not a huge fan, because it is a whole lot of alpha boys that they're a bunch of babies, dude. Like, because they can't fight. I mean, I know a lot of them, and, like, they're not going to jujitsu classes and getting worked over. Like, I got a gun, and it's weird. So, like, with knives, I mean, you know, and especially, like, we've had a couple of people have conversations about EDC throwers, which I think is a pretty good idea. but it also has its limits. So I like for people to take really intelligent approaches to things that they're going to spend a lot of mental space on, right? So like if you're going to think about guns a lot, let's not think about like how can I kill people. Let's think about like how can I keep myself safe and how can I carry this thing so I can deploy it effectively. And same thing with knife throwing, and or if you're going to carry a knife to defend yourself, you shouldn't be like, well, what if I can sever his head? Just put the calm down and think about it intelligently, right? Because that's what I don't want to see, and I see it in the gun culture. That's why you have so many anti-gun and pro-gun people, is because there is this fanaticism about and romanticism about a firearm. And so like with a knife, I did a video recently with that CPR dummy and a throwing knife, and just kind of showing like you could probably throw a knife through somebody, probably no problem. Can you do that from a very uncomfortable position defensively? So I was talking to a friend of mine who's the jiu-jitsu coach at 10th Planet about what is defensive, right? And so you can't already have it in your hand and be in your perfect throwing position. That's not defensive. That would be very offensive. So like this is getting in a fight, getting something out, making it do all of these things that we think that we can make it do. So delusions of male ego and grandeur are two things that I love to shoot down all the time, because I don't want to have it either, right? Like I don't want to walk around thinking that I'm something I'm not. Get in where you fit in and be happy with that. And if you want to get better, then put in the work. So, and I think with knife throwing, it's kind of like Eric talks about jiu-jitsu being like, the mats don't lie. Like you get out there, you might say you're awesome. If you go out there and you get choked out by a 120-pound white belt, you got to take stock in that. You're not as awesome as you thought you were. Same thing with the knife. You go out there in your backyard and you got a piece of cottonwood or pine or whatever, and you got a knife. Can you do 30 no drops? Can you do a walk back to 7 meters? Because if you can't, like, don't lie about it. And I do hear people sometimes are like, everybody just puts all their best stuff out there. Content. What? Do you want to watch failure after failure? We all, newsflash, everybody sucks sometimes. We all fail. We're doing it. We're trying to give you guys content to get you pumped about going and throwing. I don't want to watch clang, clang, clang. I know we clang, clang. That's how you get better, is the clang, clang. I want to hear clunk, clunk. I want to hear crunch. I want to get pumped and go, yeah, rip my shirt off, go outside and start chunking stuff, right? I don't want to go, well, he's not any good either. I guess I'll quit too. It's like,
yeah. I'm glad you just touched on all that stuff, because this is other stuff that I want to talk about in other episodes in depth. I think there's a lot to talk about right there. But
because the content's important, because the content is growth, and the content from other individuals other than 10 or 12 people is how that growth spider webs out and gets amazing. And that's like why I like seeing people like James, Tony, back just, 5 or 6 months ago, Tony was just kind of coming up. Now Tony kills. Like Tony's out killing stuff.
Yeah.
The edits have gotten really cool. And then I've noticed like the edits kind of changed. Like some people went like me. I went hard intro, hard outro for a while when music, and now I don't do that as much. Other people are doing it better or doing it different. And so you can see who's watching who's getting pumped by whose content, because they're making similar content. Nobody Knife Works has got a whole vibe over there.
I love it.
Dude,
way different.
It is so creative and different, and it has been so cohesive since the jump. Like he went into the storyline black and white from the jump, and it has not stopped.
Yeah. Yeah.
Completely. Are you acting the part? Do you have a role for your knives, or do you have like you dump out of a cereal box? It's all, it's all this stuff, and it's superficial and shallow. But if you have a hobby, you're superficial and shallow. That's what they do. It fills that void for being, I need something for me, right? Like that's why we do stuff like this. You don't get handmade leather stuff for your knives because I need it. You don't need this, dude. Like, you needed that money for utility bill probably, but whatever. So, for me, I mean, I think it's exactly what I needed when I found it. And I think if people find it, that's kind of, you may get really pumped on it because it doesn't. I mean, if nothing else, you'll be the best trash throwawayer at the office of anybody at your cubicle station, right? I mean, you can spin, half spin a wad of paper, whatever. So
hell yeah, man. I kind of want to end this in just a few minutes, but we're gonna make this a little introductory one, see how it's received. I think it's gonna be great. And there's so many different people. Like you were saying earlier, like some people just interested in the trick shots, and maybe they're just there to watch. But maybe that also gets them curious that maybe I could try this to go pick up a knife, or like my content. Of course, I do all the trick shots, the flashy stuff to get people interested to come to my page and grow my following and stuff. But I also post fails. I post long form videos. I post reviews. So I think I have something for everybody there. So
100%.
We're just trying to get more people involved in the sport. For instance, like whenever someone jumps onto one of the knife throwing groups and they're always asking, what knives should I get? What knives should I get? And then everybody kind of jumps in. The makers promote their stuff. The fanboys, they promote their favorite makers, and that's fine. That's totally great.
Yep.
But what I always try to do is I promote affordable, accessible knives. I call them gateway knives.
Okay.
And I never promote my own designs from D2A, never, unless they specifically ask. Because like I said, I'm just trying to get people in, and that's how I got into the sport, dude. I bought all the shitty knives. I've still got broken knives for days.
Yeah.
It's just something to get you involved in the sport. And a lot of people, they may not progress. They may say, okay, well, this isn't for me, or they get sidetracked or whatever, and that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm trying to attract people like-minded, like me. Like this, started off as a hobby, turned into a lifestyle. I'm gonna do this until I die. I just know that. So there's a lot of different there's many different demographics out there. So
I definitely would like. I would definitely like to talk more at some point about the different demographics and getting people into stuff, because what I've noticed, especially with firearms, there really isn't a cheap one. I mean, there are cheap ones, but they're so cheap. It's kind of like you almost get made fun of for buying them, right? So a lot of times, what the people that I've taught, they want to know, I want the best thing. Like, it's like a buy once, cry once kind of mentality. And so, like, for me, what I've noticed is like Keysliar is you can get on Amazon, and they make good stuff. It's $4.40, but like they're good traditional design, and they're in that $30-$40 range. So I guess what I was wondering would be, maybe people might want to explore like it, because I also know it's kind of like being a kid that gets an allowance versus working for your money. You'll blow your allowance on Tuesday. Money you work for, you save it up all summer to do something rad, right?
Yeah.
So if you buy like some $20 Fisher Price My First Throw-In knives, you may get so discouraged that you're like, maybe I'm not with it. Because a lot of people, when they go really low, they want to find a really cool aesthetic for the money. And unfortunately, all these shapes are not congruent with good throwing usually, right? I mean, usually it's something that's real simple in design, is kind of like to learn with. You don't need a lot of triggers and contours and stuff. So what I was wondering if maybe people might want to explore like an under $30 knife. What it is, in my opinion, would be a punch or a screwdriver, because you can actually use them for something else. But that's just my opinion. But what I mean, I'm a big Vapor Blade fanboy, and they're like $35-$40 a piece. They're Hard Ox 450. They're made by a maker that's a podium thrower, and 3 knives for $100-$120. People need to expect to pay the piper a little bit, because that's an investment of, like, it's kind of like having $300 sunglasses. You ain't leaving them shits at Wendy's. You know what I mean? Like, they're on when you leave, right? And so, if I lost a Smith & Wesson in the yard, it's kind of like the knives that went into the pond. you ain't going and getting them, right?
Yeah.
And if you got something that you like, you might it may be different. So I think for people, if you want to get into it as a hobby, you can't get into mountain biking for under $1,000 anymore. You can't get a skateboard for under $200 anymore. It's just, and I know that it is like attracting people is everything. I think to let people know that there are affordable options, but to keep away from trying to find what's the coolest looking cheap thing, because that's probably the hardest thing to throw. Like a kunai for $14, I would rather have a steak knife for $5, right?
Well, I mean, hold on a second, man. So here's the problem, though. Okay. China has arrived. There are excellent knives on Amazon right now.
Well, I have to search. So yeah, that's you
can get 6 knives that I would throw in a competition for $45.
Okay, well, you guys should just buy those and disregard everything I just said.
It's out of control, dude. It's out of control. And I'm not trying to promote them all the time. I love my knife making friends. I'm just looking at the beginners. Like, well, I'm not going to spend $100 on a knife or whatever. Like, there are people out there, like you were saying, a set of 3 for $120. That's amazing. That's
a deal, man.
That's a crazy deal. But it's hard to send them to that spot if they don't have a website. Like, you got to go to Facebook or Instagram.
Or Etsy,
all I can do is like, hey, look, go to Amazon, look for JXE, JXO, Throw Club, TE Dojo.
Free shipping over $25. Yeah,
dude, I don't know when the last time you were on Amazon. It's out of control, dude. It's out of control. We cannot compete with these Chinese prices, man. And it is what it is. And like I said,
it's a skill anyway. Like people should want to develop the skill, and then like you or anybody else, you can throw anything. Like, because that's what you're doing. You're throwing an object. There's just certain objects that throw more repeatable than others,
better than others,
and they hit your heart, right? Like certain knives, you hold it, and you're like, oh, this is it, you know. So I get that. That's a good point. If you can get 6 knives for $45, you should buy them just to have spent $45 on 6 knives for the story. I mean, that's crazy.
I talk about this all the time to not make people buy custom stuff at all. I just know that how I was in the beginning. I didn't know about custom makers. I didn't know about competition. I just knew that I liked to throw knives, and the ones that I was buying at the time were not that great. And I wish so hard that the knives available now were available then, because man, it might have been a totally different thing, because I was snapping knives left and right. I was buying the expendable kunais, which are not real throwing knives. They are a display piece. You will snap them off. They come razor sharp. Cold steel has always been a good, it's just.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm going to wrap this up, man. I got something I need to do.
Sure.
Dude, thank you so much, man.
It was awesome, man.
I think this is something that's
I appreciate you guys all in the comments, hanging out with us for a while. Man,
I apologize to the comments. We did not go back and check anything this time. I promise.
Make it stick. You're in Mobile. I'm in Huntsville, bro. So if you ever come up 65, 340 miles, you can come and hang out.
Hey, real quick, plug all of your social media.
Yeah. So on Instagram, I'm Doddum, so it's just Matt Todd backwards, 2 D's and O, 3 T's, A and M. YouTube is Illuminati 520 with the A, Illuminati. So man, if you guys want to come and see any of my content, this is mainly just shorts over there. There's a couple little tutorials on knife catch that I think maybe have some good input on how to pin something with a knife.
Yeah,
but
your tutorials are really good.
Appreciate it, man. Thanks. This guy, he's the Merriam-Webster of all this knife throwing stuff. So you guys just hit this guy up. But
I'm just a fan of knife throwing, man. But yeah, dude, I think this went well. We'll share it in all the groups and see how it goes. And I'm looking forward to it. We'll do this. I don't know. We'll talk about it maybe twice a month. I don't know. Well, thanks so much, man, and thanks everybody for watching. And please leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that bullshit.
Yeah, man.
See you next time.
Yep. Have a good week, guys. Later.
Peace, man. Later.